What is the stupidest reason you went to hospital? Hiccups that lasted 24 hours, stopped right when the doctor stepped in the room. LOL. I've seen this a lot. Had a guy last Monday. Intractable hiccups. Fun note, we use Thorazine to treat it. As in the antipsychotic. This happened to my father 60-some years ago. Apparently the Thorazine hit him pretty hard, and when he called my mother from the hospital, she couldn't understand a word he said, and the doctor had to get on the phone and explain what was going on. I had a guy give me a doctor's note saying he could not be forced to work overtime due to intractable hiccups. They apparently only kick in after 8 hours of work. I used to take Thorazine when I was in jail. I was originally prescribed something way more mild they didn't offer, and they stepped right up to that. I aim to never take it again. It was terrible. However, they did the same thing with giving me Halidol. That stuff literally turned me into a drooling zombie. The worst. I drooled so much non-stop. I refused to take it anymore and snapped out of it fortunately. When I was a kid, I didn't like pooping because I never felt like I was clean enough after wiping my butt. Not sure why really, I wasn't opt or anything, but I didn't like it, so I decided to stop pooping. Whenever I had to poop, I'd just hold it or go out and play, and eventually the urge would go away. Well, I woke up in the middle of the night, one night, and I literally couldn't breathe. I ran into my parents' room and woke them up just gasping for air until I passed out. They rushed me to the hospital and I started being able to breathe again on the ride there. They did some blood work and an x-ray and saw in the x-ray that my colon was so backed up with poo that the poo was blocking my lungs, especially after laying in my bed sleeping for a few hours, which is why I woke up and couldn't breathe. My poo-impacted colon was basically pushing against my lungs, so I couldn't inflate them when I tried to breathe in. They gave me some X-Lax and had to bring in a stool sample for the next couple months, I guess for some sort of testing, but never had a problem after that. I just learned that the poo has to go somewhere, so I better get used to pooping. Waking up and not being able to breathe was one of the scariest things I've been through. I'm an RN at a level 1 trauma hospital. I had been feeling really anxious for a couple days. I'm at work in the middle of the night and my chest starts feeling tight and my arms are going numb and I feel dizzy. My co-workers urge me to go to the ER, which is packed and smells like BO. Took a nap in the room while I waited, and when I woke up I felt fine. I'm 99% sure I just had a panic attack, and in hindsight, it makes sense, I had been very anxious. I'm an RN and couldn't recognize my own panic attack. I felt very silly. My sister and I got on medication for our mental health quite a few years ago. My sister had just gotten on a new med and called me from her work, casually saying, "I think I'm having a heart attack." She had all your signs and symptoms and isn't the kind to mess around, so my mom and I hopped in the car to get her. As soon as we picked her up she calmed down. We ended up taking her to a nearby drug mart to measure her blood pressure, and it was slightly high, but nothing out of the ordinary. I looked her right in the eye and said, "Dude, I think you're just having a panic attack." She had never had one before, but I had been experiencing them since I was 14, she was so shocked. It was definitely the meds that triggered it, as she hasn't had one since, but it's crazy how they can manifest so similarly to heart attacks. Definitely scary if you're experiencing your first one. I hope you're doing better. I was a house party, all the bathrooms were full. Went outside, decided I should crawl under the porch to pee. Everything went well until I tripped on the way out and rolled my ankle. Shrugged it off, limped back upstairs, and someone said, "Your ankle is broken." Sure enough, bone sticking out. Dee Dee took me to the hospital and got me ice cream on the way home. I miss you, Kyle. You're the best. But cheek injuries caused by a door. I hate touching doorknobs with my hands and always use my forearm to rub against the doorknob in a downward motion using friction to turn the knob. Was joking around with my GF saying I can open a door with my butt cheek exactly like how I use my forearm. Jumped at the door, but first and the little metal thing that guides the door cut my butt cheek. I think they call it strike plate or latch strike. The cut wasn't a clean cut because the thing wasn't that sharp. 30+ stitches. After that she had to stand behind me holding a bowl to cover my wound every time I take a shower so it doesn't get wet, and we live in a hot country so she has to do that twice a day for like a month. About 24 years ago, I ate almost a whole quart of Korean kimchi for dinner. It was so peppery, spicy, and so good, I just couldn't stop eating it. That night, I experienced the most excruciating stomach pains, much worse than when my appendix burst 10 years ago. It was so bad, I stripped off all my clothes and sat in my boxer briefs on my front porch step writhing in agony holding my now bloated stomach. My wife finally took me to the ER and they put an 4 in my arm with some painkiller and admitted me for a 23-hour observation. As the night went on, the pain subsided and I finally started feeling better. Fast forward to the morning and I was feeling much better and pretty much back to normal. As the hospital was preparing to discharge me, the night shift was replaced by the daylight shift and a few nurses came in to check on me followed by the new attending ER doctor, a Korean. He was smiling, chuckling, and laughing telling me I had suffered from kimchi-itis, and proceeded to lecture me that kimchi is supposed to be a side dish to a meal and not the main course. I really made his day, and everyone, including my sleep-deprived wife who sat with me the whole night, were laughing, shaking their heads, and grinning at my stupidity. To this day, I still wonder if that Korean ER doctor used my case as one of his funniest ER stories.